Students, welcome back to Dashadivige English Grammar Classes. Students, we have so far learnt how to change sentences from active to passive, passive to active. We have learnt about question tags and we have also learnt about direct and indirect speech. Now you have got to learn something new, and that is degrees of comparison. Now, what do we mean by degrees of comparison? Generally, these degrees of comparison are associated with adjectives or with adverbs. Now, what are adjectives, students? Adjectives are those words which describe a noun or a pronoun, right? When you say pretty, pretty is an adjective. Lovely is an adjective. Intelligent is an adjective. Okay, so an adjective, what is the main function of an adjective, students? The main function of an adjective is to describe the noun or the pronoun, or in other words, to qualify the noun or the pronoun. For example, if I say, I am a good teacher. Now, I is a pronoun, am is a verb. What kind of verb? It's an auxiliary verb. Okay, good and teacher. Now, leave out the word a. A is an article. Now, good and teacher. Now, teacher is a noun. Now, what kind of a teacher I am? I am a good teacher. So, good, therefore, describes the noun teacher. So, any word which describes the noun or the pronoun, you call such a word as an adjective. So, I'll just write it here. I am a good teacher. Right? Now, I is the pronoun. Am is the verb. And teacher is the noun. Okay? I is a pronoun. Am is a verb. Teacher is a noun. Now, this word good, it describes the noun teacher. What kind of a teacher I am. So, here the word is good. Therefore, good is an adjective. So, what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that qualifies a noun or a pronoun. Okay. So, good is therefore an adjective. Right. So, any word which describes the noun or the pronoun we learnt is an adjective. Now, we have something called the degrees of comparison. Now, how many degrees of comparison do you think we have? We have 3 degrees of comparison. Now, what are those 3 degrees of comparison, students? It is positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. These are the 3 degrees of comparison. I repeat, positive degree, comparative degree and the last one is the superlative degree. Now, we have adjectives. Now, when there is a word called pretty, she is a pretty girl. Supposing I write the next sentence as she is a pretty girl. What is she? She is a pronoun. Is the verb. Girl is the noun. Now, what is pretty? Now, pretty is a describing word. It describes the noun girl or it describes the pronoun she. So, any word which describes the noun or which qualifies the noun is called as an adjective. So, pretty is therefore an adjective, like how good is an adjective. So, good, bad, fast. Now, please children, always remember adjectives, we have degrees of comparison. Which are the 3 degrees of comparison? As I mentioned it earlier, it is positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. So, what is an adjective? We have learnt that adjective qualifies a noun or a pronoun that is there in the sentence. If I say the third example, Raju is an intelligent boy. Raju is an intelligent boy. Now, Raju is the name of a boy, right? So, this is what kind of a noun? Proper noun. Because it gives the name of a boy, and since it is referring to a name of a boy, you put Raju under a category called the proper noun. Then you have is. We have already learnt is a verb. What verb is it? It is the auxiliary verb. Again, boy is a noun. Now, this word intelligent. Now, this word intelligent describes the noun boy, or it describes the proper noun Raju. So, intelligent is therefore an adjective. So, good, bad, pretty, wicked, intelligent, slow, smart, handsome, ugly, all these are examples of adjectives because these words are placed before a noun or before a pronoun. So, adjective. So, what is the definition of an adjective? Shall we write down the definition of an adjective then? An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. A noun or a pronoun. Okay. So, we have 3 degrees of comparison. So, degrees of comparison are 3 in number. What are those 3 degrees of comparison, students? One is the positive degree. Second is comparative degree. And the last one is superlative degree. I'll tell you the spellings. Positive, P-O-S-I-T-I-V-E, positive degree. Comparative degree, C-O-M-P-A-R-I-T-I-V-E, comparative. Superlative, S-U-P-E-R-L-A-T-I-V-E. So, I have enclosed these words, good, pretty, intelligent. What are all of them? All these 3 words, good, pretty and intelligent, are examples of adjectives. Now, how many degrees of comparison do we have? We have 3 degrees of comparison. What are the 3 degrees of comparison? Positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. Now, in your lower classes, students, you have been given words where 1 degree of comparison is given and you are asked to supply the remaining 2 degrees of comparison. Now, that was a child's play. Pretty, prettier, prettiest. Smart, smarter, smartest. Lovely, lovelier, loveliest. Fast, faster, fastest. Right? So, you just had to add ER to the adjective to get the comparative degree. You have to add EST to get the superlative degree. But now you are all in 10th standard, right? So, they will not ask you a simple question where you have to change only that particular word from 1 degree of comparison to another degree of comparison. Now, you have a higher order of question. And what is that? Changing the entire sentence that is given to us from 1 degree of comparison to another degree of comparison. So, first you should be able to identify in which degree of comparison the sentence is, and then they will ask you either to change it into comparative or to change it into positive or to change it into superlative. Then you will learn what are the rules that you have to bear in mind while changing the sentences from positive degree to comparative degree, from comparative degree to superlative degree. That is what we are going to have a discussion on. So we are going to discuss, today we are going to learn how to change the sentences from one degree of comparison to the remaining 2 degrees of comparison. Right? So shall we start with the very first example, students? Do you all have your papers and pens with you? Are you all ready to learn something new? We have finished with active and passive, direct and indirect, and question tags. So yeah, we are now learning something new, and that is degrees of comparison. So please be alert, pay attention. Like how you have understood the remaining 3, you will be able to understand this also, provided you listen carefully and you keep your minds, your ears and your eyes open. So have your pen and papers with you, students. Let's start with the first example. Can we start with the first example? The first sentence that is given to us is, pen is mightier than the sword. I repeat, pen is mightier than the sword. Now before we start with identifying whether it is in the positive, comparative or superlative degree, I want you to focus your attention on the pronunciation of the last word in the sentence. The last word is S-W-O-R-D. Now I've heard many students pronouncing it as sword. It is not sword, students, it is sword. Like how the word knowledge has K as the silent letter, similarly in the word S-W-O-R-D, the letter W is silent. You say wrist. I was presented with a wristwatch on my birthday. It is not wrist, it is wrist. W is silent. Similarly, in the word S-W-O-R-D, the letter W is a silent letter. So how are you going to pronounce this word? You're going to pronounce it as sword. As if to say, this W does not appear at all in the word. You have to pronounce it as sword and not as sword. Okay, now coming back to this degree of comparison. Pen is mightier than the sword. Now we have discussed what an adjective is, right? There are 2 nouns here. One is the pen, the other is the sword. Correct? So pen is one noun, the first noun, one noun, and the second noun is sword. The first noun is pen. One noun is pen and the second noun is sword. So, which is the adjective here? It's very easy to identify the adjective. Is verb. What kind of a verb is it? It is the auxiliary verb. So, which is therefore the adjective? Adjective is mightier. Mightier is the adjective. Now, what do you think is the degree of comparison of this particular adjective? Is it in the positive degree? Is it in the comparative degree? Or is it in the superlative degree? Now, mightier, M-I-G-H-T-I-E-R, is in the comparative degree. Then what would be the other 2 degrees of comparison of this particular adjective? The positive degree would be mighty, M-I-G-H-T-Y. Comparative degree is M-I-G-H-T-I-E-R. And the superlative degree would be mightiest, M-I-G-H-T-I-E-S-T. So mighty, mightier, mightiest. Mighty is positive degree, mightier is comparative degree, and mightiest is superlative degree. Now you have M-I-G-H-T-I-E-R. That means this is in the comparative degree. Mightier is in the comparative degree. Okay. So which is the positive degree? I will write it here. Okay. mighty, then it is mightier, and then it is mightiest. So mighty is positive degree, mightier is comparative degree, and mightiest is superlative degree. So once you have understood that these are the words which have to undergo change, next you will have to understand how you will change it from one degree of comparison to another degree of comparison. So this whole sentence therefore is in the comparative degree. So you need to change it into positive degree, you need to change it into superlative degree. Okay, let's see how you are going to change it into superlative degree, and let's learn how we are going to change it into positive degree. So it's not just this word which undergoes change, children. The sentence formation itself will change when you change it from one degree of comparison to another degree of comparison. Right? Now, immediately after the word mightier, you see the word than. So, what we all should remember is when you make use of an adjective in the comparative degree, please remember it should be followed by the word than. This word is peculiar only to comparative degree. Do not use the word than either for a positive degree or for the superlative degree. Than is a special word which needs to be used only in the comparative degree. And what is the position of this word? It should come immediately after the comparative degree. You cannot have it anywhere else. It should come immediately after the comparative degree. Okay, so having understood this much, you are now able to identify whether the sentence is in the comparative or not. Now you know how you need to identify the degree of comparison. So generally speaking, the adjective, if it has the letters IER, then it is comparative degree. If it has the letters IEST, then it is in the superlative. If it does not have IER or IEST, then it is in the positive degree. Okay. So, how are we going to change? So, we have understood that the most important word, a special word that should be used only in comparative degree is the word than. Where should you put that? Where is the position of that word? It should come immediately after the comparative degree. Okay. So, now we will think of how to change it from this comparative degree first to superlative degree, and then we will think of how to change it into positive degree. Now, are you able to understand that this is comparative degree and why it is in the comparative degree? If you have understood this, you have crossed the first hurdle in identification of the sentences in the comparative degree. Now, we will see how to change it into the superlative degree. Pen is the mightiest of all swords. I will write it as pen is the mightiest of all swords. Now, sword is a weapon, right? Generally, when do we use a sword? When we want to attack another person, correct? Now, when you use a sword to attack another person, there is violence, there is bloodshed. Do you want to cause bloodshed and violence and cause law and order problems, students? No. An easy way of influencing people is by making use of a pen. Through your writings, even during the freedom struggle, students, you are all history students also. You have lessons on freedom struggle. Okay, they started using their newspapers. For example, Bal Gangadhar Tilak issued newspapers like Kesari and Maratha. And through these newspapers, what did they do? They tried to influence the young men and women, tried to instill in them the spirit of patriotism. Correct? So, there can be no other sword as mighty as the pen. Through the pen, you are not doing any violent attacks. We are living up to the principles of Gandhiji, who said truth and non-violence. are the only two weapons with which I want to get freedom for the country of India. And till the last, he saw to it that he made use of only these two weapons. Which are those two weapons? The two weapons were truth and non-violence. Now, if you use a sword, you are making a violent attack. If you use a pen, you are not making a violent attack. You are just trying to influence people and inspire them and motivate them in the right direction. So, how are we going to change this now into superlative degree? Pen is the mightiest of all swords. Okay, so you will write it as pen is the mightiest sword. You can even write this way. Pen is the mightiest sword. So what have I done? Mightier, M-I-G-H-T-I-E-R. I have changed it to M-I-G-H-T-I-E-S-T. Now, I want you to focus your attention. Just as how I said, you have to have than immediately after mightier, that is immediately after comparative degree. I want you to shift your notice, shift your focus on the word the. So, whenever you make use of adjectives in the superlative degree, students, you should always use the definite article the. We have three articles in the English language. Which are those three articles? A, an and the. And the is called as the definite article. And one of the ways by which you should remember where to use the is, whenever you have the superlative degree of comparison, you need to use the word the. The smartest, the tallest, the heaviest, the swiftest, the softest. So, wherever you have est added, it's in the superlative degree. For the superlative degree, which is a special word that you need to have? The word than. Where are you going to put the word than? The word than must come before the superlative degree. The word than should come after the comparative degree, while the definite article the should come before the superlative degree. So, pen is the mightiest sword. So, the is the definite article. How many articles do we have in the English language, children? We have only three articles. So, which are those three articles? The three articles are a, and the. All these are the articles of the English language. Okay. So, pen is the mightiest sword. When you say this is in the superlative degree. Why do you say it is in the superlative degree? Because you have IEST and there is also the definite article the. So, what is the positive degree? I have written here mighty. What is the comparative degree? Mightier, M-I-G-H-T-I-E-R. What is the superlative degree? Mightiest, M-I-G-H-T-I-E-S-T. So, now we have learnt how to change it from comparative degree to superlative degree. Now, there is one more, which is positive degree. So, how are you going to write it in the positive degree? Now, always remember, students, the positive degree must begin with the words no other. I repeat, the positive degree will generally begin with the words no other. So, I start my positive degree with the words no other. Okay, this is how you have to start the positive degree. Now, no other what? No other sword is as mighty as the pen. No other sword is as mighty as the pen. So, see, mighty is positive degree, mightier is comparative degree, mightiest is superlative degree. So, your positive degree will begin with the words no other and it should end with as dash as. Now, I use the word dash because that dash what I am saying is a reference to the adjective. whatever adjective they have used in the sentence what is given to you, that adjective you will have to use in its positive degree. So here the adjective that is used is mightier. So the positive degree of mightier is mighty. So you begin the positive degree with no other and end it with as dash as. Okay, let me just put this again within the rectangular box. Now this is the adjective that has been used. Every time you cannot have mighty as the adjective. There are so many adjectives, right? So as dash as. What does that dash stand for? It stands for the adjective. So what have you learned so far? You have learned that an adjective is a word that is used to describe or qualify a noun or a pronoun. And we have 3 degrees of comparison. What are the 3 degrees of comparison? Positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. Your comparative degree will have IER in the adjective and you will also have the word than. So what did I say? In the comparative degree, the word than, I call it a special word. The special word than will come immediately after the comparative degree. Which is a special word that is used in the superlative degree? The special word that is used is the word the. And what is the? It's an article. What kind of an article is it? It is a definite article. How many articles do we have in the English language? We have 3 articles. What are those 3 articles? A and the. A and an are indefinite articles and the is the definite article. So we have 2 indefinite articles and 1 definite article. So in the superlative degree, you have to have the definite article, but where are you going to put the definite article? Before the superlative degree. Next, we have the positive degree. How did I say the positive degree should begin? It should begin with the words no other and end with as dash as. What does that dash stand for? That dash stands for the adjective that is used in the sentence, but it should be changed into its positive degree. Shall we move on to the next example, students? Let's move on to the second example, students. You see the picture of a cow, right? Cow is more useful than any other animal. I repeat, cow is more useful than any other animal. Now tell me which are the 2 nouns here. You have the first noun, cow. Cow is a noun. It's a common noun. Then you also have another noun which is animal. Animal also is a noun, right? Now you have an adjective, correct? Because in degrees of comparison you need to have an adjective. Otherwise you will not be able to change it from one degree to another degree of comparison. Now which do you think is the adjective? Now if you remember what I said, the special word which comes in the comparative degree, which is that special word that I made a mention of, the special word is than. Correct? So I told you where is the position of the word than? It should come immediately after the comparative degree. Correct? So more useful. Let me put it this way. More useful is the comparative degree. Now take the word useful. You don't have any word like usefuler. You don't have any word like usefulest. Okay, there are no such words at all in the English language. So this particular adjective, you cannot add IER or ER. You cannot add EST or IEST because it's a special kind of an adjective which does not take IER in its comparative degree, nor does it take IEST in its superlative degree. Correct? So when you have such kind of adjectives, you have to use the word more for comparative degree and most for superlative degree. Okay, so more useful indicates comparative degree. So the special word is than. Where is the special word? Immediately after the comparative degree. Which are the two nouns here? The first noun, cow, and the last word, animal. Both of them are nouns, right? And more useful is comparative degree. Immediately after this, there is a special word, than. So the whole sentence that is given to us is in the comparative degree. So we need to change it into superlative degree and we need to change it into positive degree. Now let's change it into superlative degree and then move on to changing it to superlative degree. So which is a special word for superlative degree? It's a definite article, the. Where should the definite article be placed? Before the superlative degree of comparison. So how will you write this in the superlative degree therefore? Cow is the most useful animal. Cow is the most useful animal. Okay, this is the superlative degree of comparison. Cow is the most useful animal. Okay, here you have the definite article, the. Then you have most and also useful. Most useful indicates superlative degree. So either you can say cow is the most useful animal or you can say cow is the most useful of all animals. That is also acceptable. Cow is the most useful of all animals. This is also right, this is also right. You can say cow is the most useful animal or cow is the most useful of all animals. So here also you have the special word the. What does the indicate, students? Definite article. How many articles do we have? 3 articles. Which are the 2 indefinite articles? A and an. Which is the definite article? The. So where do we place the definite article? Before the superlative degree. Okay. Before the superlative degree. Now we'll see how we are going to change it into positive degree. How did I say your positive degree must begin? It begins with the words no other. And how should it end? As dash as, where the dash refers to or stands for or represents the adjective in its positive degree. Okay, so this is superlative degree. These two what we have written indicates superlative degree. Okay, cow is the most useful animal or cow is the most useful of all animals. So these two sentences are in the superlative degree. Now let's see how we are going to change it into positive degree. We need to begin with the words no other. So no other animal is as useful as the cow. No other animal is as useful as the cow. So you have begun with the words no other. You are ending it with the words as dash as. And this dash here stands for the adjective which is used in its positive degree. So no other animal is as useful as the cow. So useful, more useful, most useful. So useful is positive degree, more useful is comparative degree, most useful is superlative degree. So after more useful, you need the special word than. And before most useful, you need the definite article the. And you are going to begin your positive degree with no other and end it with as dash as. What does the dash stand for, students? It refers to the adjective that is given in the sentence but in the positive degree. Did you all understand? Could we move on to the next example, students?